Well, hello everyone, and welcome back to another Massachusetts time classic. Home of 6,710 views now. The man who basically never shuts up. The man who talks about cars, games, automotive, facts, does gameplay, does an amazing job of sounding so impressive that he can't bear tell anybody else. That man is me, your humble host, Mike Camo, here for Camo's Automotive Radio Show, here for episode 383, here on a Wednesday, January 18th, 2023. Here to give you guys the good news. And I just made that sound so epic that I'm gonna laugh. Well, hello everybody. Welcome back to welcome back to the episode. I just had to do that. Today was actually a pretty good day today. It's actually kind of a nice, relaxed, kind of slow Wednesday today at work. We actually got a lot done today. We actually got some fun stuff done. And I washed the floor for like, how many times have I done it now? I washed it the first time. So I've done it, I 3 Mondays I missed. So I washed the floor a total of, I've been going to work for 18 days now. So, and I've washed a total of, not counting last Tuesday because I was dealing with something I had to deal with once and for all. So I've done the floor about, so in the last 2 weeks, 5 times. So I've done the floor about 14 times. It's actually not too bad. 14 days. Oh, actually I've done it more than that. So, I did more of the floor wash. I actually had to repair the rear squeegee assembly on the machine once, and because somebody didn't really put it back in place and really put it back in the battery again. So, so that was good. I also wanted to give you guys give you guys a break from automotive and me talking about just work and stuff like that. And I wanted to talk to you guys about, I can talk about automotive and stuff like that, but I'm just going to save that. I'm going to save topics. I'm going to talk about the Corvette E-Ray tomorrow, not tomorrow, but Friday. And then Saturday, I might do a gear change show. I don't know what I'm going to do, so don't hold me to anything. But I thought I would break from, to give you guys a synopsis on this game. For those of you guys who do not know what these cards are, that's Yu-Gi-Oh! So, 6 months ago, Kazuki Takahashi, the creator of Yu-Gi-Oh! ended up dying. Ended up dying in a swimming accident, from what I'm hearing. And when I was a kid, these cards were pretty interesting. So when I was younger, this was sort of a thing that we used to do. We used to do this. We used to play the game. For those of you guys who grew up with the game, you guys will know exactly what I'm talking about. So yeah, I remember when this game came out. It came out for us in the when did it come up for us? It came up for us in, came up for us here in the year 2000. And for those of you who are old enough to know what this is, what this game is, you guys will know that these cards kind of meant a lot to a lot of people. We used to collect them. We used to duel with these. We used to duel with a deck about this size. It's about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36, 37, 38, 39, 40, 41, 42, 43, 44, 45, 46, 47, 48, 49, 50, 51, 52, 53, 54, 55, 56. So we used to, so this is a deck of 56 cards. Most of them are fusion monsters. So, so I had to, so we had to have a total of 40, when we played games, we had to have between 40 and 45 cards because we couldn't have any more because you'd have trouble drawing a card. I mean, you couldn't draw one of these. This is Cyber Dark Dragon, St. Truesdale's top fusions. So we used to play the games, and we used to play it with, I remember when we first played the game, I remember we started going by the show when it first came out. I remember we started playing without sacrifices, and then eventually, geniuses, we read the rule book. Geniuses, when any one of us bought a new starter deck, or we bought the rule book, or we needed to bring the rule book along, we kind of used we kind of used the rule book, and we started making the games a little bit fairer. Like, we couldn't put Blue Eyes White Dragon out, and we couldn't put Red Eyes Black Dragon out. Like a lot of people had copies of Red Eyes and Blue Eyes all the time. So I know I had 3 copies of Blue Eyes at one point, 3 copies of Red Eyes, and 3 copies of Dark Magician, because the decks were like, because you got to remember, the starter decks back then were like $10, and that was a lot of money. So Jaden Yuki's favorite card. Don't worry, I'm not giving you the middle finger. Don't worry, I'm not giving you the middle finger. This is just how they hold them. This is how they hold in the show. This is polymerization. This is how you fuse monsters together in the game. This is New Age polymerization. I remember when polymerization used to be something of a joke. We never fused any monsters when we were a kid. So I remember kids in my middle school playing that game for like maybe 2 years, and they're like, "Oh, it's such a stupid game. The anime's stupid," and everything like that. But when I went to learn prep, a bunch of my friends ended up playing this game. We were a bunch of the anime guys back then. Although we thought we were into anime, yet we didn't really think, because we thought we were experts in anime. Only thing was the only 3 anime we were into back when I was a kid. We were into Dragon Ball Z. We were into, well, I was into everything. I was into Dragon Ball Z, Yu-Gi-Oh, and Pokemon. I wasn't into Digimon. I couldn't stand Digimon. Digimon was never one of my favorite things. Digimon never made any sense to me growing up, so I kind of stayed away from Digimon. Digimon was one of those, was just one of those copies. A lot of people like Digimon, but I didn't. I thought Digimon was great. I thought it was funny. I actually saw a couple of episodes, but I was like, I like Pokemon better. So, and then Yu-Gi-Oh came around a couple of years later, 2 years later, and we had the card game. I remember it was big in 2001, 2002, and I remember having a lot of fun. We got into some disputes, and we actually ended up having the cards get banned I think probably because people were getting into fights way too often, and then people started making their own cards and stuff like that. Started making their own cards. Like I remember, Garrett Gregg, good card shark of ours, good card shark of ours back in the day. Friend of ours, he created this one called Sturm, and Sturm was this overpowered stupid card. It wasn't official. I never dueled him because, and even if, and when I was forced to do him, I said, you're not using Sturm. You're not using Sturm at all. I said, you're using your regular deck. Now, I used to have a mishmash of cards. Like, I used to have Blue Eyes, Dark Magician, Red Eyes at one point because my brother ended up trading for Red Eyes. We had Dark Paladin, but we never had Buster Blader. I now have Buster Blader now, many years later. But, so yeah, I remember having the fun time of my life. And, it wasn't until, now back in 2006, 2007, I sort of stopped watching Dragon Ball Z because Dragon Ball Z wasn't. I thought it was a kid show at one point, and I had a bunch of the games and stuff like that. We had Budokai and Budokai Tank. We had Budokai Tenkaichi 3, Burst Limit. Well, not a Burst Limit. And we got a bunch of other ones. And then eventually the anime came back in DBZ Kai, and we kind of got back into that. But I was like, oh yeah, this is great. DBZ Kai comes back. Everything's all redone. It wasn't until till a couple of years later, back in 2012, 2013, that I started to get back into it. And that's what sort of reignited. Well, actually, what got me back into Pokemon was Pokemon White's K6 Scope's Pokemon White playthrough, and what got me back into Yu-Gi-Oh was also his playthrough of Yu-Gi-Oh Forbidden Memories. So that's the reason why I got back into the game. That's the reason why when Duel Links was put out back in 2016, 2017, it's been a long time. It's been that long since we've had the anniversary of that one. I forget when it was. I think it was launched in either 2016 or 2017. I can't remember. But I remember that getting me back into Yu-Gi-Oh. Dragon Ball was sort of redone when we got into Dragon Ball Super. And then when I met April back in 2013, 2014, when we started talking about that, I started learning more, and I started expanding my knowledge. It wasn't until 2016 that I really set off my resurgence. For those of you who know, she pointed me to the anime Yuri on Ice. Yuri on Ice, I will have to say this right now, hands down, even though I saw that anime nearly... I can't believe I'm saying this. I can't believe I'm saying this. That anime was popular nearly 7 years ago. It was popular nearly 7 years ago. In 2026, that anime will be 10 years old, although it's never been updated. So, and I don't know why it hasn't been followed up upon. But I got back into that, and then I started playing Duel Links when it came out on mobile. And I remember playing it on my. Starting to play it on my. I think I started playing it on my my Samsung Galaxy, which I still have, and then I moved it over to my Motorola. And then I moved it over to my iPhone when I got my iPhone about a year or so later. Oh yeah, by the way, that 2-year anniversary is coming up very, very soon. And then I gotta give you the, oh yeah, and I also gotta give you the goods on the Apple Watch 6 months in, because I got that in August. August, September, October, November, December, January. So I'm going to have to give you a 6-month update. I'm going to give that maybe on Friday, tell you what I like about it and stuff like that. But, and my iPhone's going to be 2 years old in July like 30th, I think. Yeah. And I think it's July 31st or something like that, that I end up getting that. So yeah, I ended up doing that, and so I ended up getting Duel Links, and I remember getting into the card game again, and I, back when I was playing in 2000, and that's how I got into Yu-Gi-Oh! GX again. I thought Yu-Gi-Oh! GX, well, this deck is the set, well, before I start getting ahead of myself, this is the Cyber Dragon deck. This is from Yu-Gi-Oh! GX. This is Truesdale, or Ryo Marufuji, as he is known in the subversion. I sort of got back into so I got back into it right after. I think I started getting into it after I discovered GX's. After I got back into the series, and I got into GX 2018 and 2019. It really didn't become a full effect when things were starting to get heavy around me and stuff like that. GX really started to come up to the forefront, and I remember one of the favorite decks I ever produced of all time. One of my favorite decks in the game was the Cyber Dark deck. And when I was younger, everybody and their mom, everybody who knew the game wanted one of these guys. This is Zane Truesdale's Cyber End Dragon. So, and Jaden Yuki's story kind of got me back into fully got me back into Yu-Gi-Oh! That's the reason why I have the Zane's deck. A lot of people are going to say, so why don't you have Jaden's deck? Okay, why don't you have Jaden's deck? Why don't you have an Elemental Hero deck? I totally am down for liking Jaden as a protagonist. I think he's an amazing protagonist. The changes that were made to him throughout the subversion, not the dub version, because the dub he was loopy and he was Joey Wheeler. He was a Joey Wheeler wannabe who didn't really do anything for me. Subs Jaden though, or Judai Yuki as he's known in the dub, in the subversion, was a lot more significant. But my favorite character of all time, I thought he was super cool. Based on his character design, was Zane Truesdale or Ryo Marufuji. He starts out with this Cyber Dragon deck, but then eventually he has to go to a alternate strategy because he has a breakdown in the second season. There's 4 seasons in GX. Those of you who don't know, beginning of season 4. Beginning of season 2, he actually loses to a pro duelist named Astro Phoenix, or Edo Phoenix, in the subversion, and he goes on this downward spiral, and just like every other guy who goes on a losing streak, goes on a bender, goes on a losing binge, he basically goes nuts. Screws come out of him, a couple screws get loose, and he gets mad, and he goes total. I don't know how the censors here and I don't know how the censors got this, but he basically got through getting shocked with these shock collars and these underground duels. So he actually So he actually develops an S&M fetish with pain, and he basically is a total psych job. So, but his deck reflects that because the cyber darks and the cyber styles, it's all about power. It's all about stealing. If you look at him in the sub, he's no emotion. He's barely affected by anything. He's kind of that cool, calm, collected guy. Doesn't really show any emotion really until season 2. So because you go throughout the first season thinking, oh, he's this unstoppable duelist, and he's this great guy, but he's like, the only reason why he lost once in the original, in the first season, is because he was forced to lose. But every single time he dueled in the original, he fought with all his might, and when he did duel, pretty strong, pretty vicious, and stuff like that. I mean, stuff like that. So, so yeah, that's a reason. So yeah, that's kind of a reason. That's for those of you who watch this channel before. You guys know I'm into anime and into Japanese animation and stuff like that. So yeah, I just wanted to say, guys, that yeah, I just wanted to say, guys, that yeah, it's kind of one of my things, and you know, the game requires a lot of thinking, requires a lot of strategy, so you do actually have to think on your feet, and you do actually have to know what you're doing. I always liked it because of that, so yeah, I thought I'd talk to you guys about, you know, my favorite anime and stuff like that, and how I got revived it. And it probably wouldn't have gotten that revival had it been for April back in 2013, 2014. So I kind of heard a thing for that. So, yeah. I'll see you guys later, and I'll see you guys on Friday for another episode. Don't go away, folks. I'm gonna be here on Friday night. So I might upload some gameplay tomorrow. I don't know. So no promises. Good night, everybody. That's the way it is. All right. This ends the broadcast for today. Good night, folks.